Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Hallman, and I serve as the Assistant Director and the Program Director for Teaching Fellows and National Board at SARA. If you are listening in to this recording, you should be a Teaching Fellows candidate for the 2012-2013 year and have been invited to an interview on March 24th. The information that I'm going to provide can be found in your packet. Most of what I'm going to go over we provided to you in that packet, but I am going to give you some hints and suggestions and explain some of the different pieces as well, hopefully to help you feel a little bit more comfortable about this process and so that you understand exactly what to expect when you come for your interview on March. Everyone, my name is Jenna Hallman, and I serve as the Assistant Director and the Program Director for Teaching Fellows and National Board at SARA. And I'm so glad that you've taken the time to click on this link and learn a little bit more about Teaching Fellows interviews. If you are listening to this recording, you are probably a Teaching Fellows applicant who has been invited to the second part of this process, which is interview day, on March 24th. What I'm going to do today in probably about 30 minutes is give you some hints and suggestions and also explain some of the different pieces of interview day and what's going to happen. I know that you may be a little bit nervous. This could be a little bit intimidating, especially if you have not been through an interview before. So I want to do everything I can to help put you at ease and make sure that you understand what's going to happen that day. Okay, first of all, I want to congratulate you. The Teaching Fellows identification process is extremely rigorous. We started out with over 900 applications being submitted online, and that's really the first piece of what it takes to be identified as a teaching fellow in the state of South Carolina. We hand scored all of those applications. We had a team come in, they're trained, they're taught what they need to do and how to read the rubric and what each piece of the rubric means. You're going to hear me talk about rubrics a lot because through the Teaching Fellows process, the identification process, we are not comparing candidates against one another. Everything that you do and submit and give to us in one form or fashion or another is going to be scored against a rubric. Some of those rubrics we provide to you. Some of them are confidential, so we'll talk about that as well. But that online application, any information that you sent in terms of references or transcripts, SAT, ACT scores, all of that was scored by this initial team. And then we rank order scores. So what we do is we start putting people in order, highest score at the top, lowest score at the bottom, and then everybody in between. So if you have made it, if you received that congratulations letter and have made it to the second portion of this identification process, you should be very proud. Like we said, over 900 people applied for this, and we certainly are not interviewing that many people on one Saturday across the state. So congratulations to you one more time. What I want us to do to start with is spend a little bit of time talking about what to expect on March 24th. All of our interviews are going to be conducted on Saturday, March 24th, 2012. And you were given an interview time and an interview site on your letter, your congratulations letter that you received from us. If for some reason you have a real reason why that time or that site is not going to work for you, please call us and let us know, and we'll see what we can do to help you. For example, let's say that you already plan to be in another part of the state to visit a school. We may be able to get you into that interview site instead. We don't have lots of flexibility there, but we have some. So call us and talk to us about it if you do have a special circumstance that we need to be aware of. All right, when you arrive at your interview site on March 24th, you are going to be greeted. And we think this is really important. We want to make sure that you are welcome to the site. We want to make sure that you know who's there and who's going to be able to answer questions for you. So there will be a SARA staff member at each and every site across the state. If you come to Region 1, that's Burns High School, I'll be there and able to help you. In Region 2, Midland Valley, Jason Fulmer will be there to greet you. In Region 3 at Blythewood High School, Marcella Wine-Snyder will be there to help you out. In Region 4, you're going to have both Jane Turner and Todd Scholl with you at Sneed Middle School. And in Region 5, Libby Anderson will be at West Ashley High School, again, to greet you and assist you that day. Now, we'll also have some other people wandering around and helping out that you may want to talk to. First of all, we'll have our campus directors. Those are the people who, at each Teaching Fellows institution, really run the program on site. Now, if you are named a Teaching Fellow, this is the person that you're going to make contact with, who's going to set up all of your professional development, who's going to set up your meetings and these experiences and provide these opportunities to really help you become a part of the cohort there on their campus. Now, we have 11 campus directors, one at each of our Teaching Fellows institutions, and we've got them split up across the state. So we'll have a couple in Region 1, a couple in Region 2. So it may not be the campus director for the school that you are thinking you want to go to, but it's still somebody that you can talk to. We'll also have Teaching Fellows from the nearby institutions there to assist us. There are some breaks throughout the day. I would encourage you to talk to these people. If you want to know what it's really like, then ask a Teaching Fellow. They will tell you. They're there, they're working, but they're working in shifts, and so they'll be out just wandering around at some point in time. Take advantage of this opportunity and talk to those people. Parents, if you're coming as well, great chance for you to talk to the campus directors that happen to be there. They may say, oh, you know, you're actually, if you're thinking about being at this school, it's this campus director, but they can give you some information about what it's like to be in a Teaching Fellows program at one of our schools. So once we greet you and you kind of find where it is we're going to be, we need to go through the registration process. And I'm going to spend some time here talking about this, but I promise it doesn't take anywhere near as long as it's going to take me to describe it. When you register, the Teaching Fellows actually handle that for me, so I don't even have to worry about it. They take care of it. They are really strong leaders, and so we turn that over to them. They will have you fill in a name tag. Please write the name that you want to be called on the name tag. So, for example, if your real name is Jennifer and that's what we have you listed as, but you go by Jen, write that on the name tag. That will help you to feel more comfortable if they're calling you by the name that you're used to. Make sure you write it neatly. Make sure you write it big enough so that everybody can see it. Okay, and then keep that name tag on the entire time that you're there. Once you get ready to leave, you can take it off and throw it away. After you register, you're going to be asked to submit or turn in your Selection of Teaching Fellows Institution form. That's TFI here on the screen. We provided you a copy of that selection form in the packet of information that we mailed to you. It's a yellow form. We will have additional copies available, but we would prefer if you would just go ahead and bring yours. That way this registration process goes much quicker. Now let me tell you a little bit about this form and why it's so important. You are going to be asked to rank order all 11 institutions. Now you may have in your mind be thinking, I'm only going to this school, or this school. That's fine. They should be given 1, 2, 3. They should be your top 3 choices. But I do want you to go ahead and rank order all the other schools as well, because that's some data collection that I need for me. Give some serious consideration to the schools that you're putting down as your first choice, your second choice, and your third choice. Okay? Now you see a link up here on the screen. If you click this, it's going to take you to a part of the SARA website where all of our Teaching Fellows institutions have additional links, and you can go to that link and it'll take you to Institution B's Teaching Fellows page. And you can read a little bit about what it's going to be like at that school. One of the things we're really proud of with Teaching Fellows is that we have these guidelines. We have sort of the framework through which all of our Teaching Fellows institutions have to function. They've got to do these certain things. But we give each institution the flexibility to meet their students' needs in the way they think works best. So you need to know what's going to be different at this school or what's going to be different at that school. Read a little bit about it. You also need to refer to your programs of study page, which is something else we provided in the packet. Make sure that the school that you put down as number 1, 2, and 3 actually offer the program that you think you're going to want to pursue, what you're going to major in. Now, we had 2 changes that I want to make you aware of since we sent that information out. At Winthrop University, they offer a MAT 5 program, which is a master's in teaching over 5 years. You get certified. You also get your master's degree, and that is approved. You can go through that program as a teaching fellow. Now, you only get funding for 4 years if you're named a teaching fellow, but you can still complete that 5th year, and we can help you with that and help you understand how that's going to work out. Also, Charleston Southern University is no longer going to offer social studies education for grades 7 through 12. So if you were looking at Charleston Southern and thinking you wanted to major in social studies, you need to be aware of that and take that into consideration. So you really need to look at the schools, you need to look at the programs that they offer, and then number 1, 2, 3 should be those schools that you really, really want to go to. You'll also write those 3 on the lines on the right-hand side of that form. Now, here's why this is important for you and important for us. When we move through this process and we begin to make awards, we will have our rank-ordered list with all of your total scores. And if you are in the top group and we're getting ready to award a Teaching Fellow Scholarship to you, I'm going to look at this yellow form. And on that yellow form, I'm going to try my best to offer you an award at your first choice institution. So if you've just randomly filled this in, you may be offered an award at a school that you really don't want to go to or that you haven't even applied to. So give serious consideration to that. Now, the other thing I want you to know and be aware of is that each institution has told us exactly how many teaching fellows they are willing to accept in a cohort per year. So while I'm trying to give you your first choice, and the higher your rank score, the more likely you are to get your first choice, if that cohort is completely full, I'm going to have to move to your second choice. So that's why it's important that your second and third choices are ones where you would really consider going. It's a possibility for you at this point in time. Okay, and we'll talk more about that because there are some options and some other things that can happen, but that's not really what's important right now. I just want you to make sure that you put down the schools that you really want to go to as choices 1, 2, and 3, and then rank order the rest. You are also asked on that form to indicate your intended area of study or your major. That's not going to play any role in determining who's going to be awarded a fellowship. It's just data collection. We're just looking at that to see people who apply for teaching fellows, are they all headed in one path, or do we have diversity there? So that's what it's for. So that's kind of registration. You're going to provide all this information on that one form, and really you'll just turn it in, and it won't take you but 2 minutes to get through the registration process. After you register, there's going to be a little bit of a waiting time. You probably have about 15 minutes before we're going to be ready to move you to the writing room. That time that was provided on your congratulations letter, that's really your writing room time because we do that first. So before you move, after you finish in registration, they're going to send you to a waiting room, and that's where you're going to have that opportunity to talk to campus directors, to talk to teaching fellows, or just to get your mind at ease and start preparing for what you think you want to do when you're in this writing room. And I'm going to break this down. We're going to do a whole other slide about the writing room and what's going to happen in there. Once you finish in the writing room, you're going to come back out, and you'll have about a 15-minute break. Now, that break time is purposely built in there. It could be less than 15 minutes. It kind of depends just how things are moving that day, but probably anywhere from about 10 to 15 minutes. It's a chance to use the restroom, get a quick drink of water, go over your presentation in your mind, all of these kinds of things. When we move you to the writing room, we're going to move you in groups. Typically, when we move you to the next piece, which is the interview, you're going to move maybe in a small group. We may walk you up there, and we'll put one student per room, or we may take you up individually. It kind of depends on the site you're at and how quickly we're moving through the interviews. So that's sort of the process. The writing room is first, then there's a break, and then there's the interview. The interview consists of both the interview piece and the presentation, which I'm going to talk about. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about that writing assessment. When you go to the writing room, there will be a proctor, a monitor in there, and it's typically a teaching fellow. And they're going to be there the whole time. They'll monitor everything. They're going to give you your instructions. They've been trained on this process as well. It's just like SAT, ACT. We're going to ask you to sit at a desk. You can't bring anything in there with you. Phones have to be turned off. If you can leave them, if somebody came with you and you want to leave that outside with somebody, that's even better. They'll have pencils available if you need them, or you're welcome to bring your own writing instrument. They'll be there to give you all the instructions that you need. Now, you're going to have 30 minutes to write a response to a prompt. They'll read the response to you, or the prompt to you. They'll also give you a piece of paper that has the prompt on it. You will not know the prompt ahead of time. So it's a cold write. You'll get that information, and you have 30 minutes. Now, during those 30 minutes, you can choose to brainstorm. You can choose to do a rough draft and then a final draft. You can just start writing. It's totally up to you, whatever style works best for you. But monitor your time. That proctor in the room is going to let you know we're starting at this time, we're ending at this time, we're 10 minutes away, we're 5 minutes away. But watch it for yourself as well. Okay? You want to make sure that you get everything done that you need to do within those 30 minutes. And you can't leave early, so you got to stay for the full 30, so you might as well use it to your advantage. We will have dictionaries and thesauruses available to you. We won't have one per desk, but we'll have several sets. The proctor will show you where they are. They'll be in a prominent location. If you need it, get up and get one. Use it, okay? When we look at the rubric, I'm going to show you why this is important. You were provided a copy of the Essay Analytic Rubric in your packet, and you can look at that, and you'll notice that there's a point range for the rubric, for your essay, anywhere from 1 point to 15 points. Now, we all want to be up there in that top part, superior competence, 13 to 15 points. And I give you some descriptors there, what we're looking for in order to give you a score of 13 to 15. If you have an essay that's going to get that type of a score, you have a clearly stated or implied position or thesis. So basically, don't ramble. You know, it's not just write anything you can. Come up with what is your thesis or your position and then go with it. You should be able to demonstrate a critical analysis of the quotation. Organize and develop your ideas logically. It should make sense to somebody as they're reading it. Explain those key ideas and then support them with details, with examples, with reasons, with explanations. You know, you guys have been through all these writing classes. You know how to do all this stuff. We want your essay to reveal a persona. So with that, that's your voice. I should be able to hear you coming through in that writing. I want to be able to get a little bit of feel for who you are as a person as I read that. We're looking for your essay to display effective sentence variety, and that it should be virtually free from errors in grammar, usage, and mechanics. And that's why the dictionary's there. That's why the thesaurus is there. Use them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you something that I hope everybody already knows, but I'm just going to make it very clear. You are writing an essay for a scholarship, for a lot of money to go to college over 4 years. This is not a time to use text language. Now, I text a good bit, and it's very, very easy for me to slip into just writing that letter U or a lowercase I. You have to be cognizant of this. You've got to be aware of it. No text language on the essay. There's no way you're going to get a 13 to a 15, which is what you all want if you're using text language. So keep that in mind. Your essay will not be scored on the 24th. We're going to gather them all up. You will only have your final copy will be scored. You're going to actually tell the proctor, this is the part, this is the essay that I want scored. Here are my other note sheets, rough drafts, anything you did. You don't have to, but if you brainstormed, you're going to turn all those papers in, but they go in one pile, and the essay to be scored is going in another pile. We only score the final version of your essay, and you indicate that to us. We will bring another team together, and they will be trained on this analytic rubric. They go through extensive training on the analytic rubric, and they will score the essays at a later date. So that is not happening that day, okay? After you finish in the writing room, remember you're going to get that break. The proctor's going to walk you back out to the main area until you got a little bit of a break, and then the next piece is going to be the interview. Let me tell you a little bit about our interview teams. We have worked really hard at selecting people that we know are going to do a good job here. There will be 3 people on your interview team. Most of them are going to be educators at some level. They could be kindergarten through 12th grade teachers. They could be administrators. They could be college professors. We do bring some of those people in because you're getting ready to go to college, so that makes sense. We do have some business members, and most of our teams have a former teaching fellow or a current teaching fellow sitting on them, and that makes up that whole interview team. So there's 3 people. They go through an extensive training. They have to learn the rubrics that they're going to be using that day. Remember, I told you nobody's compared. We're not looking at candidate A and comparing them to candidate B. We're just comparing what you have submitted to us to the rubric, okay? So we train them on that. They're going to be friendly. They're going to smile at you. We tell them to do that. They'll greet you at the door. They're going to introduce themselves. They're going to do everything they can to put you at ease because, in all honesty, if you're nervous, they don't get the information that they need. So they're going to help you to feel comfortable in that room. Keep that in mind. They are there to help you. Now, the team is going to be writing the whole time. So don't let that unnerve you. They're going to interview a number of students over the course of the day, and they've got to keep this information straight, so they're going to be taking notes. Just know that that's going to happen. They are not writing down bad things. They're just making some notes about all the great things that you're saying so that they can remember it as they get ready to score based on that rubric. The interview should last about 20 minutes, give or take, and you'll be asked 7 main questions. Now, I say main questions because they may ask a follow-up question if they're a little confused about something or if they need a little bit more information. You can bring notes in. Now, if you want to have something written on a note card, that's fine. It may or may not help you during this part, but you have that option. You cannot bring anything else, no visual aids. You can't bring any additional references, no portfolios, nothing like that. But you can bring those notes in if you think it will help you. With those questions, let me back up just a minute. Those 7 questions, we'll ask the same questions of every student that we interview that day. You can skip a question, and you can go back to a question. So let's say they ask you question number 2, and you just can't wrap your head around it right that minute. Ask them to skip it and come back to it at the end. Let's say you get down to question 5, and all of a sudden you go, oh gosh, I should have said this with question 3. Tell them that. Say, hey, you know, I just thought of this, and when I was thinking about question number 3, I should have told you blah, 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 blah as well. The questions that they're asking you will actually be taped to the table in front of you, so you can hear them ask the question and you can also see them. So that should help you. So you can skip a question and go back to it, and you can always go back to a question that you've already finished and add more information. Now, the rating criteria. This is what they're looking for. How well you communicate ideas, the originality of your responses, your knowledge of educational issues, how well you think analytically, how well you problem solve, how you see problems from different perspectives, and how well you understand world issues and their effect on children. So use this information to help you prepare. You're going to do the interview piece first, 20 minutes, give or take, 7 questions, done. Then that interview team is going to give you just a moment to collect your thoughts if you need it, and you're going to be ready to jump into the presentation. You will do the presentation to that same group of 3 people. You are welcome to sit or stand. It is totally up to you, whichever way makes you more comfortable. Your presentation should be no more than 4 minutes long. They're going to time this because we got to keep everybody on a schedule. We can't give somebody more time than we give somebody else. So 4 minutes is really the maximum amount of time that you're going to get on that presentation. Again, you can bring in your note cards, but no other materials. No PowerPoints, no pictures, no audiovisual, nothing. Okay? Note cards if you need them. I'll be very honest with you. couple years back, we're getting better, we had students that would come through who forgot about the presentation. Well, this is part of your score from interview day. If you don't come in and do a presentation, it's going to be very hard for you to get a high score. So don't forget about this. Start preparing for it now. Your presentation should include information about why you want to be a teacher. It should include what you hope to teach. If you know, I want to teach this grade, I want to teach this subject, that's great. If you're leaning towards something, let them know that. You know, it's okay if you're not completely nailed down on I'm going to teach only ELA at the middle school level. If you're not quite sure, you know you want to teach English, but you're going back and forth between middle school and high school, tell them that. It's fine. No big deal there. We want you to include information about successful teachers. So think about teachers that you know that you view as successful. What are some of the qualities of that person, and do you see those in yourself? And then also, why are those qualities important? Why will that be an important asset to a school community? Talk about that in that presentation. Describe a current world event and share its impact on students and learning. Okay? Tie it back. It's got to come back to students and their learning. Talk about how you're going to address ethnic and cultural diversity in your classroom. This is something that teachers deal with all the time. So how are you going to handle that? And then any accomplishments you hope to make as a future educator. What are you looking to do in your classroom? What are you hoping that you're going to accomplish? So all of that goes into that 4-minute presentation. When you finish, the team will take you to the door, thank you, say goodbye. They'll help you get back to the main area, and then you're done. So that's another opportunity to talk to the teaching fellows or the campus directors who may be there that day and get any information that you need from them. All right, so final thoughts here. You don't need to arrive more than 20 minutes early. So look at that time that we provided on your congratulations letter. 20 minutes before that, you don't need to be there any earlier. You certainly don't want to be wandering around lost or can't find the door. So, you know, plan accordingly. Get there in the time that you need to get there. Look for the teaching fellow signs. We'll have signs up on the doors that you need to come through. So if you start walking up to a door and you're not seeing those signs, you probably need to come in a different entrance. Dress for the event. Again, you are interviewing for a very prestigious scholarship in the state of South Carolina. You don't have to go out and buy fancy clothes. That's not what I'm saying. But this is probably not a time when you want to come in your jeans and T-shirt and sneakers. Spend a little bit of time thinking about what you're going to wear. You want to be comfortable. You want to look professional. You know, it's fine. We know that you're teenagers. We're not expecting you to dress the same way that we dress, but just be aware of your image and what that says about you. So that's all I'm going to say. Just dress for the event. Be yourself. Just like we talked about persona coming through in your writing, there is not one mold or one way that we want students to answer these questions. So be yourself. Let your personality come through in your presentation and in that interview as much as you possibly can. And then probably most important, practice. Okay? For many of you, this is probably your first opportunity to interview, especially in front of a team of people. If you are in that boat or if you're nervous about the interview at all, go to your guidance counselors. Go to your teachers and tell them what you're going to do. Give them your packet. Ask them if they can help you prepare. Be great if they could set up a mock interview and you could sit down and answer questions to a couple teachers. That'll help you feel better about this. Now, obviously, it won't be the exact same questions we're going to ask, but it just gives you the practice in being in an interview setting. Practice that presentation. Do it in front of the mirror. Watch yourself. Tape yourself. You guys all have those webcams on your computers. I know that. Record yourself and then watch it back. Time yourself. Make sure it doesn't go over the 4 minutes. Make sure you include all those different pieces that we talked about just in the last slide. But spend some time practicing because it really will pay off. We are so excited to meet all of you at Interview Day on March 24th. I wish that I could be at every site so that I could shake hands with each and every one of you, but again, I'll be in Region 1. We wish you the best of luck. Please know that if you have any questions, you're welcome to call us. Our number is 803-323-2600. Extension 6416 will get you to Libby Anderson, and she can answer almost all of your questions, and she's in the office most of the time. My extension is 6412. I'm typically not in the office because I'm on the road all the time, but I will get back to you if you leave me a message. We're there. We'll be glad to help you in any way that we possibly can. Look for the SARA staff members when you arrive on site. Feel free to ask us questions, talk to those campus directors, talk to those teaching fellows, and we certainly wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much, and again, congratulations on being invited to an interview for the Teaching Fellows program.